Welcome back to episode 20 of the T's and C's of Life podcast
feel
with
like
Tanya
we've
and
gone
Claire.
backwards in time. How are we only on 20? Weren't we on like 27 like a week ago?
Yeah, but wait a minute. What, did I say episode 20?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's episode 30. Shit.
You really confused me then. I was like,
I was so confident
I'm
there.
sure we've done
Jeez.
27. I don't know why 27's in my brain, but I knew there was an number.
Oh, every single time there's always some fuck up, isn't there? We either piss ourselves laughing, I'm staring at you like a total weirdo, I can't get the number right.
We start as we mean to go on.
Yeah, well, I had it written down. I checked the website.
Wow.
I had it written down in my notes. I still got it wrong.
Up.
I wonder if I've got like number dyslexia, because when I read a number, I'm not sure if I'm reading the right number. It's really, this is a very new development for me.
Oh. Okay.
And yeah, it kind of freaks me out, especially like if I'm paying for something. Like I really have to look at my money, and I'm like, oh wow, is this the right amount? This is really weird.
Well,
this is quite embarrassing. Yeah, I know. A phone number is fucking pickle my mind.
Have you always felt that way?
No, it's totally new. Like the last year.
Old age.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's. I'm blaming everything on Alzheimer's at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not taking that. I'm not accepting that.
Every time I do something, I've got Alzheimer's.
But you know, that is a stress though, isn't it? When your mum is...
I do pick up traits in myself, and it's probably is just normal shit. But I think because I'm aware of it, that I've got a new thing when I come out of my house. I don't know, this is so fucked up.
You touched the handle 3 times.
No, I'm not that fucked up. Well, no. No, you know, I think you've got the same. I think you've got 2 steps down, haven't you? I've got 1 step down. Every single time I come out, only in the dark, that I think there's 2 steps.
Okay.
And so I take the first step, and that's fine, and then I fall. Every time. I'm like that. Fuck's sake! And the kids, every time, they're like, Mum, what's wrong with you? I'm like, my spatial awareness is like, oh shit.
How funny.
It's scary, because I keep thinking I'm going to die off my 1 step. So high.
Oh, God. Well, we want to apologise to the listeners for missing last week.
Yeah.
It's, we tried to do a weekly podcast, but I think we should just class it as a weekly-ish podcast. Because that works.
Weekly-ish.
A weekly-ish podcast and put less pressure on us, because we're both full-time working mums.
Yes.
We're both got businesses to run as well. Trying to write a 3rd book.
Yeah.
We both have children, and lots of children collectively.
Yes,
I have one looking at me right now.
She's a pretty one. But, and last week I was blind in 1 eye, 2 eyes at points. It wasn't.
Yeah, you get migraines pretty bad, don't you?
Yeah, I think they've got worse again, and I think that it's the computer. I'm on the computer all day, every day, and although I've got computer glasses, I think the strain is just too much. But I have said to my one of my managers, I have lots currently, that I need to step away. I don't have a lunch break. I can't think of the last time beyond this week I'm boundarying. This is my new life. This week is a good week. It's Tuesday, but it's a good week.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's not Tuesday morning. This is Tuesday night. So you've had 2 full working days of being successful.
I am. I'm proud.
Winning
I'm
at
actually
life.
proud of myself. But it is stepping away from the laptop, doing something, moving, even if it's hoovering. But it's something off of the laptop to give my brain a bit of a break and go, right, and then come back.
Okay, so why were you not having lunch breaks? Because we are in charge.
In all day.
So it wasn't somebody else making that, it was just you.
Fully me. I'm an arsehole. But, frankly.
I am an arsehole.
That is it. But I am not doing that anymore. I am structured. I am boundaried.
You're actually more productive when you're more boundaried with your time.
Yeah. And I think I have to be. I've realised I've got 4 jobs. Which is a lot of jobs.
It's a lot of jobs. And because they all weave in as well, it's quite difficult then to boundary and break them down.
Yep. And then I've taken on a degree because I'm an arsehole again, and I'm doing study through work. So I take on too much because I'm just an idiot, and then go, I've got no time, I've got a headache. I'll stop being a cunt. Pardon my language. No, I can't say the C word on the podcast.
No, you can. It's fine actually, because Whoa, I was watching, there was a TED Talk I watched about the word cunt and how colloquial it actually is in the history or the etymology. I don't know, because Tony speaks in such a funny accent. I don't know what he's actually saying.
It could be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything. So the history and the background of the word is actually really, really empowering. I'm going to find that TED Talk and I'm going to link it into the show notes.
No, I remember my friend Lucy's dad, because we used to say it a lot, and I remember one of us saying it in front of him and him wetting himself, and we were like, I'm really sorry, and he was the same. He was like, it's a good English word. Yeah. Use the word. And I think he called all of us cunts. And we were like, okay, fair play. But no. But we did. It's because so many people take it so badly. It's one of those that you sort of go, oh.
Yeah, it is a harsh word, but actually if you look at the formation of it, it's quite smooth and curvy, and it's got quite a solid foundation and structure to it.
Sometimes it is the only word that makes the point. I think when we used to use it a lot, and we really did use it a lot, it was in a very friendly way. It wasn't an aggressive way often. Like sometimes it was going, oh, that person's a fucking... But generally it was like, you're right, you can. It's nice.
Me and Bonnie came up with cunty once.
Oh, see?
And that was quite fun to use for a weekend.
For a weekend.
Yeah. We got bored of it eventually. This wasn't all that long ago, actually. It was like a couple of years ago.
Oh, see?
Yeah, we thought it was really funny.
You matured over that weekend. No, I'm not going to use that word. No, hopefully my dad never listens, though, because I don't talk like this stuff.
Oh, God, that's funny.
I don't ever swear.
We've got some news, actually. We've received some emails from the listeners about I'm not going to say last week's podcast, like the last episode that we did, because it was produced without any music. It went out. So, thanks for using that lovely email address that I can never get right when I do say it on air.
Oh.
To let us know that we hadn't put the music on it. And by the time I'd actually, because I had listened, I do have, like, we quite often talk about listening to our own podcast, and it is really healthy to do that. Don't feel bad about doing that.
I do it a lot.
Yeah, I like listening to us.
I only like listening to us, so that is the problem.
There are other podcasts out there. And I realised, why is it such a long fucking pause? I was like, oh, fuck. The music. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to put it on.
Welcome to my world. But now they can see what I mean with this long ass pause.
Yeah, I know. And you did say that to me, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot the music. And you're like, it's fine, because I think at the beginning of the last episode, we talked a lot about the pause. It freaked you out, like my weird staring.
It was really weird. I think that haunted me for a couple of days, actually, to be fair. So we were just emphasising the points of there was no music.
I know. I really hope I remember to put it in this time.
Yeah.
Because it's a risk. When I talk about something quite a lot, that I feel then that I've done it, like looking at the number, like I've looked at 30 quite a lot. I've even written it down on the notes. Like, but I still got it wrong.
Episode 20.
Yeah. Where's episode 30?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Just making sure.
I know that. Wow. Yeah.
Another bit of news, actually, but I have told you this, so this is for the listeners. Okay. We have been invited to do a little bit of, like, what's it called? Influencing.
Influencing.
Yeah, we've been gifted a Hidden City tour in London.
I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
I love London anyway.
So this is off the back of our randomisation of life and doing things a bit spontaneous.
Yeah.
And so we're going up to London on the 8th of November. No.
6th?
On the weekend, the first weekend in November.
6th?
Yeah, maybe it's the 6th. It's a curly number. Tell you, number dyslexia.
Proving your point. Well, 6th.
Yeah, so we're going up to London on the 6th and we're going to play this game.
Yes.
Which I'm really excited to do.
I love the idea of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love London. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like it's my soul home. Like London, I love it. And you know, when to find new places, and this looks like it's going to take you to fun places with a drink.
Yeah.
That's heaven.
Yeah, but the emphasis for me was not to do something that was alcohol based.
Oh.
So, are you blurring the lines here slightly?
I thought everything was alcohol-based. That's how I live. No.
We can definitely drink on it, but it's not like a pub crawl that we're doing. That's not what we're doing. If that's what you think we're doing, I'm going to take Connor with me instead.
I'll just follow behind you with my bottle of gin in a little paper bag. Discreet. No, it's not about the alcohol. It is a really cool experience. And
yes.
I am excited. What was the company called that gifted it to us?
Hidden City Tours.
Hidden City Tours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. So have we booked it?
No. No. I think you can just do it whenever you want. I think it's like a convenience thing. So it's not like there's only 50 games that can be played in one day. So I think you just... No, I don't think it matters. Oh, they did ask us when we were going to be doing it, and I said the 8th, I think. Oh, God. I better make sure that it's giving them the right date.
Oh, dear. But they've got different themes as well.
Yeah, there are lots of different themes.
Have we picked a theme?
What? No. I do you know what? I need to know a bit more. I need to look into it a little bit more, and we'll do a little debrief and things once we've done the game.
Definitely. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah,
but I think it is. I'm excited that we're influencers.
We are influencers.
Officially. You can put that on your passport and things now. Well, not on your passport.
What?
As your job. You can. We could now put that our job. We are mental health specialists and influencers. Oh. You're an author.
And you are
I'm co-founder of a CIC, an anti-racism CIC.
Yeah, and you're also an activist. That's the word.
Yeah, I love that. I'm an activist.
I like the little title, feminist. I want to be a feminist, like not a full hardcore fucking feminist, but I'd be like an apprentice to the
apprentice feminist.
Yeah, the apprentice feminist. There is a title now, apprentice feminist.
Apprentice feminist.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah. So anyway, talking of feminists and talking of people who make changes, we wanted to do this episode on inspirational people and what makes an inspirational person.
Yeah.
And we were both kind of at the beginning of the show, we're like, do we need to pick one? Because I don't actually know who or what. But we both agreed that it's not about the one particular person who's inspirational. I think there are different people throughout courses of your life and for different areas of life who are inspirational. Yeah. And I think it's quite difficult to decide on what defines that. Because is it like hard times? Is it adversity? Is it a business success? Is it a career success? Is it familial success? But what makes that person stand out to you?
Yeah, I think it is. It's difficult because it will be different for every person, and it will. I think when I think of people that have inspired me, it will be a different person at different points in my life, depending where my headspace is at. That it's really hard to pinpoint, but I know it's that kind of aspirational thing. I think when I think of inspiring people, of that they make me aspire to be better in myself.
Yeah,
that is someone I look up to. Like the person and everyone that knows me, I love her. It's Pink. I love her. I just love her so much. Please listen to this and be my friend.
You're going to have to tag her now on Instagram when this episode goes out.
And slide into her DMs again. I'm so sad.
Really spat my gin out everywhere.
But the reason she inspires is just because she's just no nonsense. And I love that about her, that she just... And she probably does have massive insecurities like everyone else, but... she always seems to overcome stuff. She always seems to be out there fighting for what's good always. She doesn't just write about shit that you just think is just airy and fairy. It's about something that is hitting you. So many of her songs have hidden meanings that you're like, oh, God, that's so clever. She's just fucking wonderful. And she's fit too. And even in her fitness, she's not the stereotypical...
Yeah,
pretty.
She's strong.
Yeah, she's strong. That is exactly the word for her.
She's physically strong, mentally strong... and emotionally strong.
And that's where I aspire, I guess, to be. And sometimes I do feel like I am Pink, And then other days, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more pale pink.
Baby pink.
Baby, definitely. Oh, yeah.
I think she's consistently real, isn't she?
Yeah.
You never see her in one interview doing one thing or in one song doing something different. You know, she's consistently just honest, real, and like just a normal girl, like somebody that you think that you could go up to the pub with and just talk shit and call her a cunt, and like it wouldn't be.
No,
she might roundhouse you.
She would, but I'd love that too. I got roundhouse like. But no, it is, and I think that for me, even seeing her as a mother, because then that's a different inspiration again of thinking of the mother that you want to be, and seeing people that you look at and go, do you know what? That's the kind of mother I want to be. That's how I want my children to look up to me in that way, and what I want to teach my children. So then you get into this whole other ground. But yeah, she's just amazing.
See, it's funny when you say that, actually, because that is the one thing that I actively try to improve on every day. Like other areas of my life, yeah, I do work towards them, but being a better mother is something that I try and work on, whether it's excuse me, consciously, or whether it's just happening in the background. Like I try and always have a conversation that sparks a different area of thinking or a different conversation with the kids. And I don't know who I'd think would be like an inspiring. I think most people say their own mothers, but, and I don't mean to disrespect my mum by not saying my mum in that respect, but I think everybody has something to contribute towards that, like different. Like my mum, I learned a lot from my mum about being independent and being hands-on and handsy and being able to do DIY. Like my mum did all the DIY around the house. Apart from, there was a couple of like some of the bigger stuff that we'd get our neighbour carpenter to come in. And I was fascinated. Like James must have thought I was a right fucking creep as a kid, because I would just sit there in the room and stare at him. I just watched him working. I loved the smell of the wood. I loved watching him planing wood. That was like, Trevor, oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, he's got this stupid quacking noise for his text message, and he's got this ridiculous horrible theme tune that plays when somebody rings him, and it doesn't like build up to this loud noise. It just comes in with drums and guitars and straight away. Yeah. He tried to sneak in all quiet as well. Like I don't even think he shut the back door.
Oh dear. So you might as well come and be on the show now, Trev.
But no, I definitely. In terms of, I mean, that's not necessarily even parenting, is it? That was my mum being a strong woman. Just being, well, fuck it, if your dad's not going to do it, then I'll do it. And, I've definitely taken a leaf out of her book in that respect. But with regards to being like an inspirational mum, I think there's something about what everybody does with their kids, and you think, ooh, I'd like to do a little bit of that. And I often wonder, and not a big-headed way, but who have I ever inspired, or who have I ever kind of...
I don't know, I've inspired many people as a mum. Definitely not my own children.
Even if it's inspiring them what not to do.
Yeah, do not bring them up like that. That is awful. No, I bet there probably are people, more so for you, that have probably looked and gone, I love the fact that you talk so openly to your kids about things from very young ages, and I think it's such a big part of the ethos that I kind of talk about, is talking to your children, and to actually see you actually do it and it work is like, this is good. But equally, it's such a natural thing for you. It's not, you're not doing it because someone said, it's just because that's just who you are. And I think that is really nice to watch. Yeah.
Do you know what? Sometimes it's hard not to feel forced when you're parenting your children, isn't it? To feel like you're, enforcing this positive change on them, and it's like, you will do this, or I will do this. Yeah. But I think at some point it just becomes normal. Like, I love the fact that your kids can stand their own in like an argument or a discussion about race and equality. Like, they just know their shit, and I love that. And I want to be more like that. And although we, our last episode was talking about Black History Month, even after that episode, even before that episode, I was thinking to myself, I need to do more this month. But it hasn't been a priority. And why? Why? Because I talk about it and I'm an ally. Why am I not doing things actively to have discussions at the dinner table?
But it's difficult. I think we're doing so much.
I know, but you can make excuses for a lot of things by just saying that.
Yeah, no, of course. But it is all equally, I think, with anything like that, is still not giving yourself a hard time for not doing it every minute of every day.
Yeah.
But as long as you're getting something in, that's better than what a lot of people would be getting.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't know that I've mentioned Black History Month once in my household, truthfully, but I'm black every day. So,
I don't need October to tell me!
This is our life. So, it's cool. But it's still, I know that they're doing stuff some of them are doing stuff at school and bits like that. But it is, I think there's different times, isn't there, and different ways to, I suppose, inspire and be an ally and do all of that stuff. It's work. It is work. It's not it's not just necessarily a natural thing all the time, which is cool.
Do you know what I have found recently, actually? And I've always been a bit kind of, why has podcasts always got famous people? Why is it always a well-known person that's talking on the podcast? Can it not just be regular people? And this podcast that I was raving about last time, 3 Little Words with John Bishop and Tony Pitts, it's all famous people or who are being interviewed on it, and they're sharing their three favourite words. And when you hear somebody talking, you hear their story, and this is what we forget a lot of the time, is that everybody, no matter where you've come from, what race, what creed, everybody has a story. And it's that story that is inspiring. It's not necessarily what they've achieved or what they've gone on to do or who they are now or what they're talking about on the radio or the podcast. It's what they've done, where they've come from, and their reflection on that. And what they've learned and taken away from it. And I was listening to one the other day, and it was Charlene Spiteri. I don't know if Texas. She was the lead singer of Texas. And I grew up, like, Texas was a band that was kind of, I mean, being from Scotland as well, it was quite...
She's Scottish?
Yeah, she's from Glasgow. Texas is a Scottish band.
Okay.
And, like, I remember the songs, like, they were on the radio when I was growing up. Music wasn't a huge thing for me growing up. Like, I enjoy music. I like all different types of different music, but there's not one particular band or any that I follow. And listening to her story about, like, growing up in Glasgow and what it was like to be, like, she was bullied in school because of how she looked, and, like, she had really, really dark hair, she had a funny name, and in that particular part of Glasgow that she grew up on, she stood out, and that made her get picked on. And just, I don't know if it's not necessarily a weakness or a sad story that makes you look at somebody a different way and think, oh wow, you've gone on to do amazing things. It's just hearing somebody talk honestly about their experience. One of our most popular, or in fact the most popular podcast episode that we've ever done is the one that I did about talking about Trevor's accident. And I would love it if he were to talk about it on it, but he won't do it.
No.
And I get that, I do get it, but when you share your vulnerability, it's so fucking hard to do at the time. Like when you're, I think with it just us and it's our candid conversation a lot of the time, it's easy then to have those conversations. Yeah,
to put it out there.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's speaking honestly, but then that are the ones. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was having a little bit of a meltdown on a couple of Saturdays ago. I had not felt that low in a really, really, really long time. And it's interesting that those are the times when you share an honest speck, a slither, a little glimmer into what that looks like to you, it speaks to people. Like when you're bragging about, you've done this or you've done that, you've published a book, you've got a podcast, that doesn't speak to anybody. That's not like, well, I've done that too, or I felt like that too. But I've had a really shit day. I've wanted to stay in bed. I've wanted to cry all day. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I can see how that would happen to me. And that is what I think speaks to people more than anything else, is when you can relate yourself to, and you can see yourself being in that situation.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, I suppose, because it is. And equally with that, I suppose we want to help people as well. So, and if we're thinking about like adversity, we like to see people. It's like when you're watching, like even something like, I don't know, Big Brother or one of them rubbish reality programs, but the underdog, to see someone that shouldn't be up there, that you're like, go on. You want them to be up there because you like, you want to push that. That I think I love an underdog story.
Yeah.
Because it's a story. It's more of a story than, and it's not saying that those that are the ones that are out there and that are showing all that positivity, that they've not had that story, but they're not. It's not there. We're not seeing that. So I get that people feed into that.
Yeah.
And that you need that. Some more.
Yeah, like when people get bullied online, and like you sometimes forget that. I mean, who am I trying to think of? Oh, Kerry Katona. She got, I don't know why she's popped into my mind, but because she's not really been in the public eye for a long time, but she was being terribly bullied in the media before.
Yeah.
And when you read interviews or you listen to her talking on the rare occasion that she ever actually did have. You don't know how honest people are being when they are in the public eye. But you see the real person. You see, actually, it's not just this fucking face that...
Do you know, she was actually on, I think it's just finished, because we just, Celebrity, not DIY SOS. Oh my God.
Changing Rooms?
No.
Oh.
The bloody military people...
Oh, Survival SOS or something like that,
Yeah, on Channel 4, but she was on it. It was a celebrity one. And I've never watched him before, but I know that the main dude, and I can't remember his name, but is amazing. Like, I've seen him, he does inspirational talking, like, because he's very military, like, they're the special forces or whatever, so they're hardcore, but he also has that softer side. But what was really interesting is they had like, Kerry Katona was on it, Alexandra Burke, so loads of celebrities that aren't big famous, but that you know who they are. And they'd put them for all of these tasks, and then they'd, one by one, they'd drag them, they'd put someone over their head, and they'd drag them into this room, and they'd go, what's holding you back? And to watch these people become vulnerable, they had Jermaine Genius. Was Jermaine Genius? No, it's not Jermaine Genius. Oh, God. Kieran Dyer. Sorry, Jermaine Genius, another programme I've watched. Kieran Dyer, so who's a footballer, who was known for being a bit of a tit, really, and always losing his temper, and not anyone's real favourite, I suppose, because he didn't come across always that likeable. And even on this, you were a bit like, I don't know that I'm necessarily growing towards you. And they pulled him in, and he sat, and he cried, and he talked about being abused as a child. And he said, this is why. This is why I am the way I am. I've had to shut because this happened to me. And, when it was like, he'd spoken about it before. He said it'd been like a year he'd been in therapy or something. And he had said it before on the telly. But you could just see his vulnerability talking about it. It wasn't that strong man that he constantly was trying to be. And it just, you suddenly go, there's more to you.
Yeah.
That is what it does. That is what and that did inspire me to sort of go, wow, like you are on telly doing this as a man from football talking about being abused as a child, and you just think, well done, because how many people will that then help? And I think that is something that always inspires me, of speaking your truth and then someone else being able to speak their truth and get the help. That I just think that it's so brave, and I don't know that I necessarily would ever be that brave to do that, but I rate people that can sort of go out, speak their full truth and go, do you know what, this is going to help someone else. And it helped him, I think, as well.
Yeah, it does. I think it's very cathartic and almost therapeutic in itself just to talk about things and to get them out. Like I was having, I think what kind of opened the can of worms for me the other weekend is I'd had supervision with work on the Friday towards the end of the day, and it opened a whole can of worms that I've been on the cusp of talking about. And this, our work as a mental health practitioner has really brought these things to the surface for me. And after I had that supervision, I was like, oh, fucking hell. Within 5 minutes, I was greeting.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was proper fucking bubbling.
Yeah.
And I think that then tumbled and turned and became something else. And it is something I think I will talk about in the future. I might even put it into a book. I don't know. I think to put it into a book makes it a bit too... But I think of how many people it would help. How many people, and for parents as well, to read my story and to be prepared for their children.
Yeah.
For their young people to know whether there were signs. I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird one. But yeah, when you talk about it out loud, like it puts what you've maybe kept inside into a different... You hear it in a different way. It puts it in a different light.
I think it is. But it's scary because, like you said, it opens a can of worms. Once you've voiced things out loud, it's like, oh God, I've got to deal with this.
You can't unhear it, can you?
Yeah, it's there. That it's and that's a frightening prospect if you're not ready necessarily, or have got the kind of support there to trust that's going to be able to pick you up, because more often than not, when you're speaking your truth about these kind of traumas, that it's going to floor you, and you're not always going to be able to pick yourself up on your own. That if you don't trust that you've got people that can do that, why would you do it?
I know.
What was I was watching? Oh no, it was Towie. It's the shit I watch.
Fucking hell, Tanya.
But she actually, one of them, she annoys me, but she made a really good point. She's got a thing about going over bridges, and she doesn't like driving over bridges, and she went to see a counsellor about driving over a bridge because she wants to drive over a bridge. And she sat down with the counsellor, and within like 5 minutes, the counsellor was like, "You've got trust issues. You've got attachment issues, because I think her mum had either left her or died when she was very young." And she said, it's all about that. You're trying to go over this bridge, and it's like, but you're letting go. And she was like, no, I'm not doing this. She said, I want to go over a bridge. I don't want to deal with the stuff that I don't want to deal with. I just want to get over a bridge. Because she wasn't ready to do all of the other stuff. And her friends were like, oh, but you've got to. And she was like, I'm not. I'm not doing it. And, you know, when I sort of was like, do you know what, I get that.
It's painful, it hurts.
Yeah. And then why would you, to open that can of worms necessarily, it leads to something else, and leads to something else, and leads to something else. You're like, I just want to go over the fucking bridge. You just get over the bridge. Leave me alone. But at the same time, you do know that actually it will make, in the long run, hopefully, will make things better.
Yeah. But that's the worry, isn't it? If you haven't done it before, if you haven't tested it with something small, and you haven't had the success or the feeling of elation or the relief of not having that burden on your shoulders, but you've carried it with you for such a long time, and where's the promise that it's gonna it's a huge thing. It's a really huge thing. So I've got a hell of a lot of respect for people who do have the courage to speak about whatever it is that is kind of on their shoulders. And you know who, I mean, this particular person she's a huge inspiration to loads and loads of people, but I fucking love her. Oprah. Yeah. I just think she's amazing. Are you not keen?
I don't know what it is with Hope. I genuinely love her, but there's something in her that grates me.
Oh, I don't like how she sometimes talks at people, or she'll talk over them, and her interview style is maybe, but her story, where she's come from, what she's done, what her relationship with her husband, it's just.
And her mother, didn't she have real issues with her mum, Oprah?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that's Oprah. That did have real issues with her mum, and I'm sure it was her whose mum passed away, and I think they maybe only kind of reconciled fully just before. But yeah, she is an inspiration. She is. People love her because she is, because of what she's been through, and because of how open, I guess, she has been always. That people need that. I think we are surrounded by so much fakeness and shit, and just shiny. Yeah, we love shiny.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? I think I don't want to slash social media again, but I think like trashy TV, like the shit that you watch, what is it, reality TV, and how it can glorify like the lack of intelligence, or it can glorify bullying, it can glorify being really fucking cunty people. Yeah. And it can make it look like that is the norm, and that's how people behave. I think I either overheard a conversation, or I had spoken to somebody recently that was a friend of Joey Essex.
Yeah.
And apparently he's a very, very, very intelligent boy. And he puts on that. So why do the producers popularize? That's not a word.
That's not a word at all.
I'm taking that. I'm going to delete that word from my vocabulary forevermore.
Yeah.
Why do they accentuate that sort of behaviour? Like, how is that?
Because it sells. People, he has done so well of being thick. If he came out now and was suddenly like Brains of Britain, that's his work done. That he made a really good programme actually about his mum passing away.
Did he?
That, oh my God, I bawled. It was awful. It was really, because he hadn't even looked at like photographs of his mum. She died when he was really young, but he couldn't come to terms with it at all.
Aww.
And so he did this programme and like went back to even like the childhood home, and it just was. It was so sad, and you could just he looked like a little boy again. Like he is a little boy. He's probably not. He's probably like 30 something now. He always looks like a little boy, but you could see that child that had lost his parent. That was like, oh, and just again that programme would have had people see him in a different light, and would have helped a lot of people watching and going, do you know what? Yeah, that's.
Do you know what? I was just about to say, why did he do that on the TV? But like you said, it gets people talking, doesn't it? It makes other people see and think about what an impact that could have on them if they were to address.
Especially males as well, because I think there's still. I shared something at work the other day around. I think it was for Black History Month, but around like black men and mental health, and that just there is still and I think there's still the highest statistic for suicide is still males. And you just think because they don't talk in the same way that even like obviously women still take their own lives and things, but they're so pent up, and it is like I know even when Sam is a very emotional man. And sometimes I'm like, dear God, but I'm glad that he gets it out. Because if he didn't, and like the shit that comes out, if that didn't come out, God forbid what would be happening in his head. Like, let it out. And it is the same for my kids. I'm like, do you know what? Talk about it. Talk about it. Like Callum came in today, and he came in like his hood was up, and he looked really. And I was like, what? Took his head off, and he was like, no, I'm fine. And I was like, okay. But you tell me if something's wrong, and he's like, no, I would. And he does, and it's he still gets very upset over his best friend Rio, who passed when they were both 6, 7. And he will still have moments, and it'll be really out of the blue. It's never really the big anniversaries anymore. It's just randomly he'll come in, and he'll be in absolute pieces, and he's just like, I miss my friend.
Yeah,
and it's just, but he will talk about it, and I'm like, you have to talk about that. You can't keep that in because that's just going to eat away at you. That's going to destroy you. But he knows that he can come and talk to me, and I'll just go, okay, it's cool. This is cool. We'll cry. We'll we have our moment, and then carry on. Because that's all you can do, and that is one of the most inspiring people to me is Rio's mummy. I love her to pieces. That it's she's just amazing to.
She sounds like an incredible woman. Like
so many different ways. She is just. I don't even want to say strong with her because it's beyond that. That it is beyond that. She's just amazing, and she is destined for wonderful things and for a happiness beyond what we can ever wish for her. But yeah, she inspires me, I think, daily, which is just, and I love her to pieces. So, so I'm playing with stuff.
Yeah, making background noise.
Yeah.
That's a vulnerability though, isn't it? You're fiddling when you're being vulnerable about yourself and speaking about a friend who's inspiring. So it is difficult when you share your own things. It's fine when you talk about somebody else's, you're discussing other people, but when it's yours, it is.
Look, we were sort of saying before that I'm in a reflective state at the moment. I'm very much trying to body and mind and being reflective, and I'm realising things that about myself that I didn't believe were there. And it's unsettling because I I think, Joe, I have a lot of mask tattoos on my body. And I've always sort of said I'm very good at a mask. I'm very, very good. And then, when you start looking behind that mask and going, oh, shit. Wow, that's different.
Yeah.
Didn't see that there. It's hard. And it's good, but it's slow.
Is this when you were telling me you don't like criticism?
Yeah. I don't like criticism and I don't like being told no.
Yeah.
Which, I said, I'm like a child in a way. But it's not, I think nobody likes criticism. No one likes being told no. But I never thought that of myself.
Okay.
I always felt that I can take criticism. I can take a no. I can't. I don't like it. I don't like rejection. It really makes me, it just makes me clam. And I'm like, makes me feel very kind of vulnerable. And I think that's something I don't do that. And I think because of that, because I've always got my front on. So if someone criticises me, I think it's like it etches away a little bit. That
chips away at the mask.
And then you're like, oh shit, get that back up. Get that back up. That even I think, do you know what I think it is as well? I think it was the Instagram row. I think that might have maybe started some of my reflection. And she was wrong. And I will openly say this girl was fucking wrong. She was a div. But she, I put a post up a couple of weeks ago, it must have been now, when we went out about, we went to Maidstone. I was the only black person. It was weird. We'll go into it properly another time. But a girl that I used to go to school with then put on my Instagram, she basically told me to stop whinging, was basically what she said.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, don't come at me.
What's her race?
She's white.
Okay.
And she then she tried to compare it and said she'd been to a club a couple of times in Croydon, which is a very black club, like everyone knows it, and she's the only white one. She said, I know how you feel. It's fine, but I don't go around bitching and moaning about it. And I was like, okay, right,
wow.
So getting my back up already, but cool. I was very hungover as I'm reading this. My sister then rang me at like 8 a.m, and she was like, I'm going to fucking kill this girl. I'm going to fuck someone up. She was like, what's she coming at you for? And then lots of people, because I'm very lucky, I've got lots of supportive friends. I was hungover. Lots of people sort of jumped in and were just sort of trying to explain to her why her point of view at that point was wrong. And it was wrong. It was just stupid. And she could have, if she was trying to be encouraging and just saying, do you know what, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you had a good night, it's really cool, whatever. But she wasn't. And then she, after then doing this, and I sort of just messaged and just said, cool, whatever. And then she said, and also, I think you're two-faced. And I was like,
oh,
what?
Wow.
What? You know, I'm hungover.
Someone's hijacked your fucking Instagram. Just to publicly say that to you.
To me. And I was like, what? And she said, there's been a whole thing, and it will be a whole nother podcast because it's so long, around Jessie from Little Mix and blackfishing. There's a whole thing about blackfishing, which is basically when a white person takes on a black person's appearance, has all the gains of a black person without any of the struggles and all of this kind of shit.
Okay.
And Jessie from Little Mix has made a video. It's put the cat amongst the pigeons, and this is all happening. And I must have put something about blackfishing on a couple of days before we'd gone out. So she then started talking about this, and I was like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. If you think that she's not, that's fine. I'm not bothered what you think. She was blackfishing. End of for me. She was like, well, you wear a wig. Does that mean you're trying to be white? And I was like,
oh, God damn it.
You're missing the point. And this went on for hours. She's now blocked me. But that didn't even bother me because, when I'm like, I can hold my own in my arguments with stuff like that. That's what I do. But she kept saying things like, you're not the person I thought you were. You're two-faced. You're fake. You're this, that and the other. And when it was like, after a while, it chips. And you're like, is this what? And I think sometimes because I put myself out there and I'm not even remotely saying I'm like a celebrity because that at all, but I think because I do have, and we have a social media presence with this, with Part, with Mindset, that you allow people to become critical. I'm very lucky that generally people are very positive. And I think just having that criticism, it then started to make me think, oh, I don't like this. I don't like it. She was wrong. She was a twat, but it chipped it, and I think it sort of did open that little can of worms that is now, for me, I'm trying very hard, like I said, to reflect on it and to not let that kind of fear of criticism and vulnerability not demolish me or anything, but it definitely started a little thing. I'm glad
That's good. Self-reflection, so you can thank her for something.
Yeah, I think
besides being a cunt.
Fist in the face. She called me a hag and then blocked me. I was like, you fucking shitting me. A hag.
Wow.
She called me a fucking hag. Stupid girl.
God.
Silly little girl. And do you know what? I love an argument. I love a discussion around race. I will happily, most of the time, as long as I'm at my equilibrium, and I'm right. But, yeah, because I'm never wrong. But be educated in that discussion. Yeah. She didn't know what blackfishing was. She didn't. She just thought it was about a tan and a weave. But it's so much beyond that. And that's all I was saying was, if you want to have this conversation, go and get educated and then come back and then we'll have the conversation. That it's, you're missing a point here. You're saying that this isn't existed and this isn't a problem, but you don't actually know what it is. Yeah. So stop. Yeah. Stop there. And that doesn't inspire me. Yeah. That makes me look at you as an idiot.
But in a way, it has inspired you to reflect on yourself. Yeah. And it's inspired you to not be like her.
Yes, that's actually very true. Mm-hmm. I will never be like her, even when I wear my blonde wig. Fucking idiot. Oh dear, the joys.
Wow.
The joys.
People, I think you'll struggle to understand most people. And I think social media has given these idiots a platform to have a voice. Yeah. But, I mean, maybe she wants to learn, but she's just going about it in the wrong way. But I think I wonder why when people go online to be deliberately malicious towards another, especially somebody that they've gone to school with, or somebody, like, they're using their profile, they're using their picture, they're putting themselves out there, and they're being really obnoxious, really rude, really offensive, really racist. Are you claiming for attention? Like, what is it you're doing?
I personally think she was pissed because she'd been out. Like, we'd been out, but I think she'd still been out. I honestly think that she was pissed.
Still out.
But, yeah, and I think that she, in her mind, I think that she had what she thought was a really good point. Mm-hmm. And I think she delivered that really, really badly. And I think she just, then, because so many people had my back, it put her in a corner. And I think instead of just going, oh, do you know what? I've upset a lot of people. I'm actually going to do some research, or I'm going to think about how I phrase things. Instead, what she did was attack. I think she said, "Stop your minions having attack, like going at me." You know, and then even my children. I do love my children. Even Callum came on and was like, "Seriously, don't come at my mum." Like, I think Charlie called her a joke man. I do love my children, but you know, it's at points like that. I was doing a training today, and it's very hard when someone's coming at you to not go on the aggressive. I get that, but when you are upsetting a lot of people, and a lot of people are saying the same thing, you have to then be big enough to go, what have I said?
Why am I not getting this reaction?
Yeah. You have to. That's your responsibility there. You weren't listening to me trying to teach you. You didn't listen to the 7, 8, 9 other people that tried to educate you. You just attacked. And then you wondered why it rose. George Floyd got brought into it. It got massive because she missed the point. And it's something that, if it's something that affects someone personally, that I think as well at one point, I think she did say, fucking podcast that. So I fucking have.
Oh my god, this girl sounds like a fucking nightmare.
She went in. We were really close at one point, but it's
my god.
Yeah. So
I mean, what I don't get about that is a reflection on me and my personality. Like, I'm not that opinionated about anything that I would try and hold my own in an argument that I'm clearly losing in. Like, I'm very submissive. Like, if I am wrong about something, I will say I'm wrong and I'm really sorry. Like, point me in the direction of finding out the truth, because I'm clearly not getting the point here.
But and I think that is a really good trait to be able to go.
I know, but it's also quite nice to have an argument with somebody sometimes, isn't it? But
I always argue with people.
Yeah. You clearly know too much.
I'm so fucking educated. It's amazing and brilliant. No, I think it is. I think it's hard. I think any conversation, like we always say, any conversation about race can go like fucking hit the fan, because I'm coming at it from a personal, emotional point of view. even when I try and take the emotion out, there's always going to be part of my story. The same with anything, that when you're looking at it like that. So it is about, and that's what I made a real conscious effort with that argument as well, to not just call her a dick. And I really wanted to, and I thought, I'm not going to, because I want you to learn. I truly want you to learn, because you're obviously that angry at me now, but I want you to understand why this might be an issue for a lot of people. And I think that's the whole thing around this whole Jessie thing, is that it's not attacking someone that's had a mental health issue, because that's the last thing anyone wants to do. But if you're doing something that is offending that many people, your reaction should be, I'm really sorry, how do I learn from that?
Right, okay, so I'm totally missing something here. I remember you briefly touched on this with me in a text message at some point. I think you'd woken up, you'd heard about the video, and you're feeling really shit about it.
I'd watched the video.
Right.
And it angered me.
I don't know what it is. So has Jessie had mental health problems?
So yeah, in the past, she's had a lot of online, like, it's been awful. She made a whole programme. It was a brilliant programme about her online presence, or her celebrity presence, and how much hate she got for being the ugly little mixer.
Okay. That must be awful.
It was awful, and it was really sad. I think she really, really talked about it a lot, and she's done lots of amazing things. She's really struggled with her mental health. She's obviously now left Little Mix, and she's gone off and done her own thing. So you're prioritising yourself, that's brilliant. Yeah. All anyone wants to do with, especially people that work in mental health, that's brilliant for us. I'm like, big yourself up, go do what you got to do. Her first song out is with P. Diddy and Nicki Minaj. And it's a remake of one of his old songs, which is a tune. But it's called Bad Boys, or Boys, but it's about bad boys. All of the bad boys in the video are black boys with like grills on their teeth and the bandanas in their hair and that stereotypical black bad boy look. All of them. That she is very, very tanned. She's got her weave. It's which is cool. Like, do you in a way? But she's darker than Nicki Minaj. It's raised a whole conversation, and not just on her, about this being part of the industry, I suppose, and part of the world that we live in, that profiting off of black culture and things like that. But then what's now arisen is that Leanne, so the mixed race one from Little Mix, also raised the point that Jessie is blackfishing. And it must have been a bit of an issue between the two of them. And part of that main issue is that Jessie has sort of said that she loves black culture. She's always celebrated black culture. You had not one thing to say during the Black Lives Matter movement after George Floyd died. Leanne said she's never supported her with that. She's had, people have put videos up of her criticising like Caribbean food and things, or not understanding what Caribbean food is. So it's like you're profiting. It's good when you want it to be, cultural, but actually you're not doing. You're not doing the work in the other areas, and that's where the issue is. And it's unfortunate that it is her, because no one wants to attack her because of what she's been through. But then what she has done and what Nicki Minaj has done, and this is the thing. This is why it's not just Jessie, and this is where I hope people that do look at this see it's not just Jessie, because Nicki Minaj is a black woman. P. Diddy is a black man. There is as much, if not more, to blame, because you should be trying to break down those stereotypes in the industry. But you're feeding it because it makes you money. And then Nicki Minaj and Jessie done an Instagram live and basically just slated Leanne and just was like, well, she called her a bully and everything else. And it was like, you have fully missed the point here, that it just has got really, really nasty, and it shouldn't have. Again, it should have just been, see what you've done wrong. See why. You've not got millions of people have got their backs up. And you can't just then go, I'm dismissing this because actually, no, I like black culture.
Fucking hell.
That it's bigger. And I think that Leanne is someone like, I like Little Mix, they're fun. But Leanne, especially the last few years, has really tried to do a lot against anti-racism, or for anti-racism and things like that, that you have to respect that. And you have to respect what she's been through, and how many little girls of colour will be looking at Leanne now and going, oh my God, you're amazing. And you're talking about things that we might have been through, that you have overcome this, I can overcome that. Don't knock her down because she's criticised you for doing something against black culture. just leave that out of your, like, you should leave that alone, because what you're doing there is you're showing that to other people. Bella loved Little Mix.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was Leanne. Because you're seeing yourself, representation. I always talk about it's there, you're seeing that.
Yeah.
That for Bella is inspirational. She's looking up and going, look at her. She's talking about her struggle. She's talking about the things she's been through. And at the same time, she is a fucking millionaire that's amazing and just had twins and looks like my leg. Like, just, it's ridiculous how these people bounce back. But I just think you have to be careful of trying to take people off of a platform when they're doing so good, especially around issues that I just don't think everyone understands. So then, if you don't understand it, educate yourself and then come back and have a conversation. I have to very much have conversations. Like I said, even with that girl, I didn't want to have an argument. I was too hungover to have an argument anyway. But I know that's going to close it down. That we have to learn how to have conversations about things that are uncomfortable. Because if we don't, then nothing changes. That girl now is going to walk away, and she will just think, she'll just think that I'm a fucking idiot. Which is, that doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me. But I feel like I've missed an opportunity to make someone actually see a bigger point on an issue that does affect a lot of people.
Well, she clearly is listening to the podcast, so maybe she's learning in a subtle, timely manner.
I hope so, because I think that's all I think that we aim to do with this podcast. We love to entertain, we love to have the chats, but we talk about shit that is uncomfortable for a reason. Because it's just, if it makes one person go and Google something that they didn't quite know a bit before, because they want to find out more, because we've talked about it, that for me that sort of just chills my soul to go, right, okay, I've done what I need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I've raised something. And that's why even with the post that I put up about us going to Maidstone, it was never for a sympathy. It was partly because I was pissed when I first put it up. I was drunk. But when I put things on, it's to raise an awareness. It's just to go...
A real factor, yeah.
This is what this is on my mind, that this is maybe on other people's mind. You might not think about this, but let's have a conversation about this. And 9 out of 10 people got that and was just like, do you know what? Actually, it's not about sympathy. I truly don't want sympathy. It makes me uncomfortable. But just have that conversation. Just see that this might be happening in the world, and whether that's with race, with LGBTQ, with mental health, we should talk about these things. That if we don't, we know from working in mental health, you see the stats, you know what happens when people don't talk about their shit. So I will talk about your shit, not my shit. Some of the shit. Some of it, not all of it.
Oh, well, that has been a very inspiring podcast, I think.
Go off on it. I went off on a tangent again.
No, but it's good. I love it when you do, because it's so... I love the way you speak. You always have a point. You always have a really good way of getting your message across, and I love it. So, thanks. We did well.
Do I inspire you?
You do inspire me.
You inspire me too.
There we go. On that note, should we share the love of the listeners and wish them well?
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.